Women's Day magazine, first printed by the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company in 1931 as a giveaway in the grocery stores, has always offered craft ideas amongst its pages since the very beginning. Now in 1978 though, the craft item offered within the pages of the magazine's November issue was one that would take children and their space-themed toys to a far-out destination, all thanks to the hottest toys on the market at the time, Kenner's Star Wars line. Now, Kenner offered many playsets for their Star Wars line, some good and some not so good, but never did they offer something that would rival the offerings that were to come in the 80s, such as Hasbro's USS Flag from their G.I. Joe line, for instance. Women's Day magazine, though, would change all of that with this one issue. And mothers could clip a coupon found at the back of the magazine and send it in with a dollar bill back to the publisher in order to receive full plans to build this monstrous playset. And oh my, what plans they were. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jason Devall, and with Dave Draper, this is the Vintage Toy Box.
These are copies of the plans that would be received. And honestly, unless you had someone in the household that was a carpenter or knew one, these things were unfortunately tough to build on your own. Made to be built somewhat in a modular fashion as not to seem as overwhelming, they only go together in the fashion shown on the pages of the magazine. It's hard to say how many of these actually got built in the late 70s. We found evidence of one, but that's not to say that there weren't more, of course. Some of the items required for this build have changed dramatically over the years. For example, the soda bottle used for the Monorail has changed its shape from what it was originally required for the build. But now, after almost 5 years of off and on again building by a really good handyman, I present to you the Women's Day Space Station Playset.
As Dave mentioned earlier, this massive set was designed in a modular fashion. But the modular build here was only utilized simply to make building the components much easier. Now, as you can see, this playset really only goes together in one fashion, and if you try piecing it together any other way, things don't quite fit. In this set, you have the Monorail, which slides down over the solar power unit to the personal launcher. Now, there is a functioning elevator on the back side of the Monorail, allowing access to all 3 levels of the tower. The rocket launch platform is a simplistic feat of design, with working bay doors that open up to reveal a functioning vehicle elevator, which brings your ship of choice to the top to prepare for launch. Now, the weather station overlooks the small park here, with a raising and lowering drawbridge, which leads to the working conveyor belt. Now, we used a gaggle of Jawas here, as in the original pictures in Women's Day, they used vinyl cape Jawas. A lot of vinyl cape Jawas. There's thousands of dollars in that picture. And you can use the trick staircase here to head down to the lower level, but beware. Now, these stairs all move down with the help of a crank to create a slide that sends your figures to the lower level a lot faster than they anticipated. Now, below the spacious living quarters, you find parking for your trusty land vehicles, in this case, Luke's Landspeeder. As well as a working elevator, which brings figures up to the top floor into the living quarters themselves. Now all the living quarters here are clear and see-through because the future and stuff. Heading back over to the personal launcher, by pressing down onto the platform, it locks into place. Now it can be released via a hinge below. By putting one of your favorite bounty hunters, here Boba Fett, onto the locked platform and, watching your eyes there David, you can undo the hinge and send him flying into the air. Now the solar power unit here isn't anything functional. Mostly just pretty scenery with all the multicolored wires popping out of the two openings in the middle. And the mirrors here to catch the sun's rays. Although it does feature a ladder in case there are maintenance needs that have to be addressed. There are also control panels that are removable and can be placed throughout the structure wherever you see fit. This is a set of legendary proportions, one of which not too many exist today from their original builds in the 70s. Now, some of the materials required are long since extinct, and the talented handyman Dave hired had to seek out alternative building methods for some of it to function properly. Now overall, if I'd have been a kid in the 70s, I would have killed to have this build, and I know this was on Dave's wish list of getting one day. So to have it built is one of his grail pieces checked off the list. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed our look at this legendary playset and look forward to bringing you more fun vintage talk in the future right here on the Vintage Toy Box. And until next time, take care.